Welcome to
Theories
of the third kind.
Welcome to Theories of the Third Kind. My name is Aaron. The other individual joining me today is Danielson.
Hello.
Now, before we start today's episode, we do have a couple of announcements to make.
If you would like to support the show, you could do so by joining our premium subscription service, Supercast. For $6.66 a month, you can enjoy weekly premium audio episodes that are all ad-free and have access to our entire back catalog of over 260 plus episodes.
Or if you're a big baller and you want to spend a little extra change and see our faces one extra time each week, you can sign up for our premium video service for $9.99 a month, and you get access to all of the premium video episodes each week. And to do that, just go to theoriesofthethirdkind.com. Right there in the middle of our website is a button that says Supercast. You click on it, it will take you over there. It takes less than 30 seconds to sign up.
Now, we know things are tough out there right now, so if you can't afford a premium membership, but you still want to help us out, you could do so by leaving us a written review on iTunes or Spotify.
That helps us out a lot.
However, don't feel pressure to leave us one. If you don't want to, that's fine. We just want you guys, girls, aliens, reptilians, Bigfoot, Sasquatches, chupacabras, ghosts, Illuminati members, underground lizard people, whoever or whatever you are to enjoy the show. Also, remember, this episode is entirely human-made. No AI were used or harmed in the process, other than getting the base graphic for the episode.
And that is the end of the announcements. All right. So today's episode is over LSD. We have gotten numerous requests for this episode, and we figured we would bless you all with it. Congratulations.
You got it.
Now, before we jump into today's topic, I need to ask you something, Dan. Do you know what LSD is?
I don't know the scientific name, but I do know pretty much what it is.
Okay. And when someone says, I'm going to go drop acid, do you know what acid is?
Is that little drug that makes you trip out? See a bunch of, I don't know, weird shit, I guess.
Okay. Now, with acid, we're not talking about the acid substances that can donate hydrogen atoms when dissolved in water, resulting in a pH lower than 7, which causes chemical burns when you get it on your skin. We're not talking about that. We're talking about the drug acid, which is the same thing as LSD.
So let us break it down for you. The term LSD stands for lysergic acid diethylamide. Big word. It is a powerful psychedelic drug that alters perception, mood, and cognition. Acid is simply the street name for LSD.
Yep. So when someone says that they took acid, they almost always mean that they took LSD. So basically, LSD is the technical and scientific term. Acid is the slang/street term. It's the same substance.
All right. Now that we have an understanding of what LSD is, let's go over a quick history lesson on LSD. So way back in 1938, a chemist named Albert Hofmann worked for a pharmaceutical company in Switzerland named Sandoz. Albert was tasked with studying a fungus that grows on rye called ergot.
Now, that fungus was known for causing some pretty nasty reactions, even death sometimes. But Albert's goal was to develop new pharmaceuticals, ones to possibly treat circulatory and respiratory issues. So he was trying to find, something useful hidden inside of that fungus.
So Albert ended up taking lysergic acid from the ergot fungus and combining it with a chemical compound called diethylamide, creating LSD. He ended up naming it LSD-25 because it was the 25th compound in a series of creations that he had made from the ergot fungus.
Now, at the time, this LSD-25 showed no medical value, and it was placed on the shelf of his and pretty much forgot about. Then, 5 years later, on April 16th, 1943, Albert ended up resynthesizing LSD-25 to study it more closely.
During the process, he accidentally absorbed a tiny amount through his fingertips and experienced the world's first acid trip. Albert described it as a 2-hour uninterrupted stream of fantastic pictures, extraordinary shapes with intense kaleidoscope-like colors.
Now, after this happened, he was pretty much freaked out, but he was fine physically and mentally. And I can only imagine him freaking out and wondering what the fuck is going on. And then the next day, he's like, whew, that was a bad trip.
Just sitting there.
Oh my God. So a few days later, his curiosity got the better of him, and on April 19th, at the end of his workday before bicycling home, Albert deliberately took another small dose of LSD 25 and ended up leaving work and began riding his bicycle home.
As Albert rode his bike, the LSD kicked in, and the entire drive back or ride back, he was tripping on acid, aka under the effects of LSD. Now, what Albert experienced was similar to his previous trip, but this time it was more powerful. He experienced extreme visuals, distorted time, and feelings of connection to nature.
It was at this point that he realized that this little chemical had enormous potential for mental health and exploring consciousness itself. So he ended up telling the pharmaceutical company that he worked for, Sandoz, about his findings. Soon after that, the pharmaceutical company began giving out LSD for free. It was giving them out not to just regular civilians, though. They were giving him to psychiatrists around the world so that these psychiatrists could study the effects on depression, anxiety, and addiction that LSD had. So the psychiatrist would be like, hey, are you depressed? Here, take some LSD. I'm going to study you. That's what they would do. Crazy.
I'm extremely fucking depressed. So, throughout the 1950s, it showed a lot of promise. Therapists stated that it was breaking down mental barriers and healing trauma in almost all patients that took it. However, a Dr. Max Wrinkle ended up bringing LSD to the United States, and it quickly fell into nefarious hands.
Now, at this time, the CIA and the United States Army, they heard about LSD and its effects. Now, both of those agencies wanted to develop truth serums for interrogation purposes.
So by 1951, the CIA had gotten their hands on LSD and began its first LSD experiments under the code name MKUltra. Also, the United States Army was not far behind them, and they started their own LSD experiments under the code name Operation Third Chance.
Have you ever heard of Operation Third Chance?
I haven't even heard of First Chance or Second Chance.
Yeah, I've never heard of it either until we started going over this. I was like, wow, that's
Huh.
crazy. I've heard of MK Ultra. I think everybody has.
Yeah, but Third Chance. Huh.
Yeah. So, like we said, initially the CIA wanted to use LSD to see if it could be like a truth serum, and they did this under the name of MK Ultra. However, the scope of their studies went from finding if it was truth serum to using LSD to see if they could all out mind control human beings without their knowledge. Of course, these CIA and US Army LSD experiments were conducted secretly.
During this period of the 1950s to 1960s, the government's use of LSD violated a wide range of state and federal statutes. Numerous individuals, both military and civilians, were drugged with LSD without their knowledge or consent, and then subjected to abusive interrogation and other manipulative ordeals.
For example, in 1961, a 22-year-old black man named James Thornwell, he was a soldier that had been suspected of stealing classified documents. Now, the U.S. Army, they ended up arresting him and placed him in solitary confinement for 6 weeks. And during this 6-week period, they starved him and occasionally would go inside there and be like, did you steal the documents? And he'd be like, no. And they'd beat the shit out of him and then they'd leave. So, yeah, this happened for 6 weeks.
Damn. James was then fed LSD without his knowledge, and then the U.S. Army sent in interrogators to ask him if he stole the documents. James kept saying that he did not steal any classified documents. And at that point, the interrogators told him that they would extend his pretty much LSD state indefinitely, even to a permanent condition of insanity, if he didn't confess and tell the truth.
Yep. So he was tripping. He didn't know he was tripping until he started to because they fed him LSD. And then they were like, oh, you're tripping right now? You're tripping right now? Tell us the truth or you're going to stay like this forever.
It's literally like the damn witch trials. If you float, you're with the devil. If you drown, you're with God.
Yeah.
This is literally like the same damn
You're,
thing.
you're screwed either way.
Yeah.
Pretty much. And eventually it was proven that James was innocent and he didn't steal any documents at all. In the 1970s, he sued the United States government for $10 million. However, in 1980, the House of Representatives approved a compromise settlement of only $650,000.
And then taxes hit, then he only gets like 100,000.
Pretty much, yeah.
All right. Now we're going to jump back to the 1960s. So during this time, the US government was secretly experimenting with LSD, trying to create a truth serum with it. Now, at the same time, LSD ended up hitting the streets and individuals started trying it. People began to believe that acid, aka LSD, could expand your mind and unlock creativity and connect you to the universe.
Musicians like Jimi Hendrix, the Beatles, Pink Floyd,
Dewey Cox.
Dewey Cox, they all made music inspired by their trips. It wasn't just a drug for some, it was a movement. LSD quickly became a symbol of the 1960s counterculture, a time of anti war protests, rock music, long hair, and rejecting the status quo. However, not everyone was on board.
As more young people dropped acid, some had terrifying experiences, known as bad trips. They would suffer panic, paranoia, hallucinations that just felt super real. Stories of people jumping off buildings or losing touch with reality started showing up in the news.
By 1965, LSD was made illegal in the United States, and shortly after, it was banned in many other countries. In 1970, it was classified as a Schedule 1 drug, meaning it had no accepted medical use and a high risk of abuse, despite the earlier research suggesting otherwise. From that point forward, LSD went underground.
For decades, it was seen as dangerous and even demonic. The media painted it as a drug that would fry your brain or make you lose your mind. Meanwhile, a few brave scientists kept studying it quietly, but they were fighting an uphill battle against stigma and strict laws.
Fast forward to the 2000s, the Twin Towers got hit because they were all under LSD.
And that's why they, never mind,
Go ahead, say it.
jumped out of the buildings.
Oh my god, they did not do that because they were on LSD, and the people weren't on LSD flying the planes. That we are aware of. But
Just jokes, sorry, bad joke.
something began to shift. Researchers started reopening the books. They looked at how LSD and other psychedelics like psilocybin, aka magic mushrooms, might actually help people with PTSD, depression, anxiety, addiction, and end of life distress. The results, they've been pretty promising.
Today, we're seeing a psychedelic renaissance. Major universities and medical centers are studying LSD again. It's still illegal for recreational use in most places, but public opinion is changing. Some cities have even decriminalized certain psychedelics, and more people are asking, can LSD heal, not just harm?
So, where does that leave us? LSD is neither a miracle and it's not a monster. It's a powerful tool, one that changed science, music, culture, and consciousness. Its story is full of wonder, controversy, and potential. And as we stand at the edge of a new chapter in mental health, one thing's clear: the trip isn't over yet.
Nice.
And that right there is pretty much what LSD is, how it was created, and some stuff involving it. But just like every week, our episode does not stop here because now we are going to get into the really strange stuff, which are some strange facts and findings that we uncovered while researching this topic. So, Dan, can you tell us about our first strange fact and finding?
Of course. So, our first strange fact and finding is how powerful LSD is. It is one of the most powerful psychoactive substances known, and a few grains of salt's worth could dose dozens of people, which I honestly never seen LSD or have held it, seen it. But I didn't know it was like just a couple grains.
Oh, dude, we get into some stories of people vacuuming their floor and the particles going up into the air and then sniffing it on accident and tripping.
Accident.
Yeah. Yeah, we get into some crazy stories, but before we do, we're going to go over a little more in-depth discussion about the secret CIA LSD mind control program, Project MKUltra. So what was MKUltra? Well, like we mentioned earlier, it was a CIA program officially started in 1953 under CIA Director Allen Dulles.
Its goal: develop mind control techniques, truth serums, and methods for behavioral manipulation, especially using LSD and other psychedelics. It operated under extreme secrecy, and many records were destroyed in 1973.
Now, the CIA, they didn't do all the testing themselves. They used front organizations and government grants to recruit respected institutions. Some of the key universities that were involved was Harvard University, Stanford, Columbia, Cornell, McGill University in Canada, UCLA, University of Illinois, and Yale University.
Funded under fake organizations like the Society for the Investigation of Human Ecology, professors were often unaware they were working for the CIA. Students, prisoners, and mental patients were dosed without consent, especially in early trials.
Now, some of the notable figures involved was a Dr. Donald Cameron. He was the head of psychiatrics at McGill University in Montreal, Canada, and he ran horrific depattering experiments using LSD, electroshock therapy, and sensory deprivation. Patients came for mild issues. They were like, "Hey, doctor, I don't feel good. My tummy hurts." And he's like, "Here's some LSD, sensory deprivation." Ah. And these patients would leave with amnesia, loss of motor skills, and sometimes permanent trauma. And he was paid $69,000 by the CIA.
Damn.
Yeah. Tell him about the other notable figures.
So the next one that we have is Dr. Henry Murray from Harvard. He conducted extreme psychological stress experiments on undergrads, including Ted Kaczynski, the future Unabomber, or Unabomber, who participated as a student. The test involved harsh verbal abuse, sensory distortion, and intense stress, possibly shaping Kaczynski's mind, making him radical.
Yeah. And then Ken Kinsey, who was the author of One Who Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, he volunteered for an MKUltra LSD experiment at Stanford University. And this experience turned him into a counterculture figure. Everybody's like, damn, dude.
And the next one we have is Robert Hunter, the Grateful Dead musician. He volunteered for LSD trials at Stanford, and he would later become deeply involved in the psychedelic music movement.
You ever listened to any Grateful Dead?
Probably, but I couldn't tell you if I did or not.
Okay. Touche. Touche.
If it came on and it was on, I listened. So it's one of those things.
Now, there were also some victims that didn't know that they were dosed, like Frank Olson. He was an Army biological warfare scientist, and he was dosed with LSD without his knowledge during a CIA retreat. 9 days later, 9 days. That's how long he was tripping for. He fell to his death from an NYC hotel window. The CIA claimed suicide, but later evidence suggests he may have been murdered to cover up some of the secrets that he knew.
That's like one of the worst people to, I guess, put on LSD. Army biological warfare scientist. The shit that he could have done.
Yeah.
But yeah, the program was so secretive that even many CIA officials didn't know its full extent. Techniques tested included under LSD, hypnosis, isolation, electroshock, and sleep deprivation.
Then in 1975, Senator Frank Church's committee exposed much of MKUltra. However, only 20,000 documents were found. Millions of them had already been destroyed by the order of the CIA director Richard Helms. He should have been arrested and executed for that, by the way. That's kind of extreme, huh?
Little shit,
But
right?
hey, I mean, oh God, what
Put
a
him
piece
on
of
LSD
shit.
for the rest of his life.
Yeah. So MKUltra was officially terminated, but many details remain classified or they were pretty much lost. And it remains one of the darkest chapters in American history. That's pretty much untold. Yeah. So there you go. That's our second strange fact and finding.
All right. So our next strange fact and finding is a list of famous individuals who have all tried LSD.
So Steve Jobs, the founder of Apple, he famously called LSD one of the 2 or 3 most important things he ever did. Damn.
That's
We
actually
need to
very
do
impressive.
some LSD. Tricks on you. I put some on the C4 lid.
Then there's countless artists that have tried LSD. Ranges from the Beatles to Salvador Dali. They all explored LSD's effects in their creative process. For example,
Like Dan mentioned, the Beatles, John Lennon, Paul McCartney, George Harrison, and Ringo Starr, they all experimented with LSD. It pretty much influenced albums like Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club and Revolver. And McCartney was the first to publicly admit that they did LSD, and that was in 1967.
then you had Jim Morrison from The Doors, who took LSD regularly and referenced it in his poetry and performances. Then Jerry Garcia from Grateful Dead. LSD played a central role in Grateful Dead culture. Then you had the famous badass Jimi Hendrix. He referenced LSD in songs like Purple Haze, and he's saying it's known for colorful synthetic performances, often under the influence.
And then you have the authors like Aldous Huxley, who experimented with LSD late in life. And at his request, he was dosed with LSD on his deathbed. That's crazy, huh? Don't, don't give me morphine. Give me LSD.
And I think that would be the time that you would actually have a bad trip knowing that you're on your deathbed.
Yeah.
Gave himself probably heart attack.
Also, Carrie Mullis, the inventor of the PCR technique, which is used in COVID testing, they stated that LSD helped him pretty much conceptualize. I did say the word conceptualize the PCR technique.
Okay. Did
Yeah,
not
so
know that.
people are still using it to this day to help them with their creative process. I use it every day. I'm just kidding, I don't.
We'll see if this episode gets flagged for misinformation.
Just for saying the word COVID, it will get flagged by Spotify, by YouTube, by all of them.
I'm gonna laugh if it does.
It is. It's going to. They do it every time.
But our next strange fact and finding is back cracking. A popular urban legend claims LSD remains in your spinal cord forever and can cause flashbacks years later. While hallucinogen persisting perception disorder, HPPD, is real for a small number of users, the spinal cord myth has no scientific backing, though.
Have you heard about that? People saying, oh, if you crack your back, you'll start tripping again.
Did not know that.
Well, I've heard it a couple times and I decided to look into it since we were doing this episode and no scientific backing. I always pop my back and I'm like, oh, come on, let me get a nice trip in.
I mean, that would be cool, I guess.
Yeah.
It's like your own supply.
Now, have you ever heard of any other myths or legends or stories of people in LSD? There's one famous one that everyone talks about the individual who fell into the vat of LSD or acid and is tripping for the rest of his life. You've never heard of that?
No, I've heard people get like super strength when they take it sometimes.
I haven't heard that. So the vat of tripping is like super well known. And I decided to look into this urban legend. And to an extent, the story is kind of true.
So it actually happened at the Alza Corporation, a pharmaceutical company in California in 1976. A chemist named Robert Seeley, sometimes unnamed in retellings, accidentally spilled a large amount of LSD, reportedly over 1,000 times the normal dose, on his skin while working in a lab.
Now, some versions of the story state that he fell into a vat of LSD, but the more accurate account is that he was exposed via absorption through his hands and forearms. Like he was handling a vat, not like a huge vat, just like a smaller one, and it spilled on his arms and his hands. And almost immediately afterwards, he experienced intense hallucinations and lost consciousness for several hours. However, he fully recovered without long term effects, and he returned to work after he recovered.
Hmm. I don't know if this was a accident. You figure if you're handling that stuff, you'd have like long sleeves and gloves.
Yeah, yeah,
But
yeah.
oh, it's all over me. Ooh.
Oops, goodbye.
I need to leave work early.
Yeah. This next story is my favorite story. It's the Electrica Firehouse incident in 1963. So in 1963, psychologist Timothy Leary and a group of researchers lived and conducted LSD experiments at the Hitchcock Estate in Millbrook, New York. Now, one night, the local fire department responded to a call that, hey, the Hitchcock Estate is on fire. So they get in their fire truck and they drive to the house. And when they pull up, the group of researchers all come out and they're all butt naked, completely nude, and they're all tripping. And they were convinced that the fire truck was a celestial chariot coming to take them away. Of course, the firefighters put out the fire, and LSD was eventually banned from the estate. But that's a good story. I love that one.
They all come out, praise, praise, take us away. So it was all of the researchers.
Yeah, all of them was like, hey, let's trip balls on LSD. And then one of them, so they started tripping balls and they started stripping down butt naked. And they're like, hey, let's catch this thing on fire. Oh, that's a good idea. They catch it on fire. And then they hear something coming and it's the fire truck. and they all go outside and greet the fire truck butt fucking naked, thinking it's a chariot.
I don't even know what to think of that.
Yeah, they should make a movie about that.
That would be hilarious.
Yeah. All right, so tell us about this next strange fact we have, Dan.
All right, so this next strange fact we have is Operation Midnight Climax, which happened from the 1950s to the 60s. It was part of the MKUltra project. The CIA ran a brothel in San Francisco where they secretly dosed unsuspecting men with LSD, observed their behavior through two-way mirrors as they chatted with the women of the night and had intercourse with them. The men had no idea they were drugged. The agents wanted to see if LSD could be used for mind control or truth extraction. These disturbing experiments remained classified for decades. I don't think they were using it to see if it could mind control or truth extraction. I think they wanted to see if it could be used as a sex drug.
Viagra version 2.0. Yeah. Huh. But I guess it didn't work out that well for him.
Damn it. 0 out of 10, none flaccid.
Yes, but we still need to observe more. That's what they were probably like. Observe more. Let's look through the mirrors.
Charlie, stop breathing. Mirror's fogging.
All right, so let's talk about our next strange fact and finding, which is called tripped into failure. So everyone knows the super popular band named Pink Floyd, right? You know them? Okay, I was about to say, oh my God.
Fucking end the episode.
Yeah.
We're done.
All right, so Pink Floyd is an English rock band formed in London in 1965. And of course, they would go on to be one of the biggest rock bands in history. Well, one of the founding members of Pink Floyd was an individual named Syd Barrett.
Now, Syd took massive amounts of LSD in the 1960s. Eventually, he became disconnected from reality. He became unresponsive during performances, and the band had to replace him. His story became a famous cautionary tale of cumulative psychedelic deterioration. Which, holy shit.
That's got to suck for him. He just wanted to have some fun, wanted to spice up his creative process, and in turn, he misses out on a Hall of Fame band.
Just think, like, during a performance, and then all of a sudden, just, you're out.
Like, God damn it, Syd did it again. We're going to go get the other guy, get him to get on the stage.
Bring the backup.
Yeah. All right, so let's talk about our next strange fact and finding, which is called LSD Jesus incident.
Okay.
Now, before we tell you this story, we need to talk about what Burning Man is. And Dan's been there multiple times, so he can tell you what it is.
That's right. I love going. But Burning Man is a week-long event in the Nevada desert where tens of thousands of people come together to create a temporary city filled with art, music, and self-expression. There are no stores or vendors. People give things away for free, live in tents or RVs, and build wild sculptures, crazy vehicles, and colorful camps. It's not about watching a show. Everyone participates in some way. The whole thing ends with the dramatic burning of a giant wooden figure, the man, in a spiritual temple. It's dusty, extreme, creative, and like nothing else on earth. It's just badass.
And it's nasty.
And nasty.
Dirty, dusty. It's like Dune, but a lot of people tripping.
And a lot of smoke.
Yeah, there's no Lisa Al-Gaib there either. All right, so why do we mention Burning Man? And why did I mention LSD Jesus incident? Well, back in the 1990s, an individual went to the Burning Man and took a large dose of LSD. This individual stripped naked and climbed on top of a wooden tower and declared himself God. As everyone looked up at him, he then jumped, thinking he could fly. He said, "Everybody watch me. I can fly." And he jumped. Of course, he didn't fly, but he did flap his wings. And he landed on the ground several feet below, broke multiple bones. They had to call in an ambulance, which they flew in a helicopter and then took him out. And he ended up surviving. But the incident became a legend at Burning Man.
I mean, technically, he probably did fly for like 2-3 seconds.
Yeah.
All right. So our next strange fact and finding is about a Swiss chemist who tripped while vacuuming. So one chemist working with LSD in the 1950s reportedly accidentally inhaled fine LSD powder that had become airborne during cleanup. The dose was unmeasured, but potent. He entered a state of catatonic hallucination and had to be assisted by colleagues. Later analysis showed airborne LSD particles in the lab, indicating how easily the drug could enter the body. Well, we all know about airborne.
Yes,
Small
airborne
particles
particles,
are,
a hazard.
oh, yes. Damn, think about that shit happening in a fucking nuclear plant.
Oh my god, you tripping on LSD there? That would be
Oh,
horrific. That would be horrific. I would just curl up in a ball in a corner.
I would probably be down at the very bottom floor, what, minus 40?
Climbing into the steam generators. What
Oh,
is
God.
this?
Oh, God.
Oh my god, going into the reactor core? What is this?
Jump down on the steam platforms from the guys in the bubble suit and go over there and poke a
Hey,
hole.
how you doing?
Gotcha.
They'd be like, "What the fuck are you doing up here without a suit on?" Oh my god.
Oh, man.
That'd be scary, but also hilarious.
If we'd be in the bubble suits doing have like a sumo match on the steam generator platform, running into each other.
Get these fucking idiots off the platform. Oh god.
That would be bad. We
Yeah.
would be banned for not even
You
5
you'd
years.
get
It'd
the
be,
five. Well, yeah, you
it'd be
get the
longer.
5-year ban from a nuclear plant. All right. So our last strange fact and finding I was going to show, it was a video of Steve-O, the guy from Jackass, giving you an accurate representation of what tripping on LSD is like. However, due to copyright issues and our video being flagged for copyright, we're not going to play the video, and instead, I'm just going to tell you what to do. All right. So if you want an accurate representation of what it's like taking acid or LSD, go get one of those garden hoses that are like, they're not a regular garden hose, but it's like
oh, the ones out outside where you once you turn it on,
it it all untangles. Take it and throw it into a mess, hook it up to a water line and put water on it. And now it starts expanding and moving. That's exactly what it's like. Or watch Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas. And when he looks at the carpet, when Hunter Thompson looks at the carpet in Las Vegas and it starts moving, that's exactly what it's like. So there you go. Or just go to YouTube and search up LSD visualization.
Steve-O.
Yeah. But there you go. That's LSD and pretty much what it is and the strange facts surrounding it. And we don't have any theories for you this week because there is no theories.
There is no theories. It's
Just factual information to give you, some history lessons about how the government used it against you.
that and what it is and some of those funny stories.
Yep. But with that being said, do you have anything else you want to add to today's episode of LSD?
No, I mean, I've never seen anybody trip on LSD, but I've never actually seen anybody have LSD.
Never seen anybody with like a blotter page or anything? No? Mm.
I guess I didn't party hard enough.
Well, you still have time.
Still have time.
By the way, rest in peace, Ozzy Osbourne and Hulk Hogan.
Yep.
Yeah, get you some, brother.
Now you did. With that being said, though, you said it comes in threes.
Yeah, it does come in threes. Deaths do.
Someone named somebody else that died before Ozzy.
I saw that.
Malcolm something.
Oh yeah, that guy off the Cosbys.
Think so.
Yeah. So it's been finished. Malcolm Jamal Warner.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, it's done then. That's the three. Malcolm Jamal Warner, Ozzy Osbourne, and Hulk Hogan. That's the three. It's sealed up until next year.
Someone showed a video of Hulk Hogan like being interviewed when he was like New York City. I guess days before today, or the day he passed. Dude, that man looked like he was on some cocaine.
Yeah.
He didn't blink. His eyes were wide, they were red, and he's just talking.
Yeah. Supposedly what happened is that he had surgery and the surgery went wrong and he was sent home and he couldn't speak. And then Friday morning he had, not Friday morning, Thursday morning, he ended up going into cardiac arrest in Clearwater, Florida. And yeah, sucks, but rest in peace. All right. Well, with that being said, I'm not going to tell you not to take it or do take it. You do whatever you want. You are your own human being. You make your own decisions in life. Do whatever you want. If you or a loved one have taken LSD or you've participated in Project MKUltra experiments, please send us an email. We would love to hear from you.
Yeah, tell us your stories if you did take LSD or you know someone that did.
Yes.
I like reading funny stories like that.
But with that being said, I want to thank you for joining us. And again, thank you for your support and love. We are proud of you.
That's right.
So, Dan, can you roll us out?
Sure will. It's okay to be out of this world with your thoughts.
because you are not alone.